evening, everyone. My name is Eddie Williams. I want to welcome everyone to coming out to our third Thursday real estate events. For those of you that don't know, we have these events the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. here at Shields Pizza in Southfield. For those of you that are watching via YouTube, we highly encourage you to come out to our events. They're always the third Tuesday of every month here at Shields Pizza, and always free. We encourage you to come out because a large part of what we do here is the networking. You never know who you're going to meet out here, who's going to be able to help you in your real estate journey. Tonight, we are very fortunate to have with us Mr. John Graham. Mr. Graham is probably, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong here, but he is probably the biggest house flipper in the Metro Detroit area. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Mr. John Graham.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you. So I want to go over a couple things about like my accolades of what I've done in the past. I started in 1995 selling real estate. I acquired my first property in 1997. I flipped close to 3,000 houses. I've done over 10,000 real estate transactions. 1 year I flipped 350 houses in just one single year. And when I listed and sold real estate, I was working at Keller Williams, the same as like Jeff Glover and Mark Z. And I actually did over $1 million in gross close commission before they both did it. I just been selling a lot of real estate, flipping a lot of houses. I kind of dispersed myself off of working with clientele because it overwhelmed my life, and then I just started getting into flipping houses more and more. I've always done it while I was listing and selling, but I just had it kind of like take over so I didn't have to list and sell, and I just bought and sold. And I started doing that right around like 2014, and now I do very little listing and selling, close to next to nothing, because I buy about 250 houses a year and I sell 250 houses a year. So almost every day in my life I'm either buying something or selling something. So the things I want to get into right now is one, this gentleman right here talked about financing. That's an important part of buying and selling. A lot of people here might have struggles in getting financing or finding financing.
Excuse me, can you hold that mic just a little closer?
Okay, I want me to hold it closer?
There you go.
Okay, no problem, will do. All right, so in regards to financing, is that I went out and I found individuals that would lend me money, all right? And I would tell you to do the exact same thing, is to find people that know you, like you, and trust you, and have them lend you money. And then you negotiate the terms out. You know, you try to get the lowest interest rate as possible. And also, don't try to cut them in on your real estate deal. Don't give them a portion of the profit if you don't have to. I always say that don't give them a profit unless they're part of the process. Meaning that unless they're coming to the table and doing like the construction work, or they're finding the deal. You know, if they're not doing something to help your process, don't let them into your process, because then all you're doing is you're making less money and you're creating a process that they're not a part of, but you're giving them a portion of your process. I always say to people is that you could take all my money away from me and next year I'd be a millionaire again, because it's the process that's the most important part, not the money. People always think it's the money, it's not. There's a lot of people with a lot of money that don't know what to do with it, or have it sitting around, or do stupid things with it. It doesn't mean that they have a brilliant process. And that's what you guys want to create when you're buying and selling houses, or wholesaling houses, or whatever, is create the process. That process is what makes you all the money. So the more you think about it, and I was just talking to Eddie at the table, and I said I could do a whole meeting on basically telling you how to prepare yourself in a day. So if you prepare yourself well, you're going to do real well in life. If you don't prepare your day well, you're not going to do well. It takes me probably about 2 to 3 hours just to get into one day. But when I get into that day, I really kick butt. You know what I mean? I know I'm accomplishing a lot. I'm doing everything necessary that I need to do for my company so I can acquire houses. And that's what I do for my company. I have about 15 employees, probably a $1.3 million annual, like, salaries go out, but I have to produce for my company by acquiring houses. That's what I mainly do. So when I prepare my day, that's what I'm doing, is trying to be in touch with everybody that would give me houses. So I'm in touch with realtors, I'm in touch with wholesalers all day long. I always say, if you want to accomplish something, you take what the essence of what you want to do, and it's got to be 80% of that day. So, for an example, a lot of people work a lot of hours. Let's say you're working 10 hours a day. In that 10 hours, 8 hours should be really the essence of what you want to accomplish. And if you're not doing that, and you're not preparing yourself well enough to do that, it's very hard to accomplish those big dreams that everybody has. So let me get into a little bit about like what I really make. So it holds a little bit more credibility to what I'm saying. Because a lot of people are like, hey, you're talking all these big numbers, but what do you actually really make? Okay? So after paying taxes, after everything, per week, I make 40 grand a week. All right? So I'm making millions just in my pocket. This is not talking about like, hey, after it's all done, I got a couple $100,000. No. I make millions. So that's why I'm saying what I'm telling you is exactly what I do. I don't do anything different than what I'm telling you. This isn't like, hey, I wrote a book. No, I live this. So if you want to get your goals done, just prepare your next day. I tell a lot of people, a lot of people have yearly goals. How many people have yearly goals right here? What you thought about what you're going to do at the end of the year? All right. But does anybody know what you need to do on a daily basis to make that yearly goal? It's very hard, right? It's very hard to take that and section it off into one day and say, I have to work this way to be able to make this kind of money. That's hard, isn't it? So I said, screw that. That's too hard for even me. I just want to make sure when I go into the next day that I am prospecting 80% of the time, looking for people to give me real estate. All right? So I'm talking to wholesalers all day long. I even was talking to Eddie right now. I was like, Eddie, here, try these areas. You'll get a lot of leads out of these areas. And what I'm going to tell you, Eddie, is that if you get the leads, I want to go with you. Why don't I go with you? And I can do a couple things for you. One, you got a built-in buyer right now. So that built-in buyer, then all you have to do is negotiate it lower than what I want to pay for it, and you got instantaneous profit now, don't you? Now I'm telling everybody in the room, if you got houses, let me know about it. At the end of this, I'm going to go over my phone number. It's easy to remember, and you can save it, and you can give me a call when you have housing. I'll take your leftovers. If you guys are flipping houses, and you can't flip everything that you have an opportunity to buy, I want to see that opportunity. So, Eddie, that's one thing I can do for you, is one, I can give you the offer. The second thing I can do for you is, I've been through probably 1 million houses, no joke. I've been doing this forever. I've been working with clientele, doing all those 10,000 real estate transactions, flipping all those houses. I got to look at a lot of houses. So when you go through a house, what I can do for you is I can tell you, hey, look, this house needs this, this, and this. This house is in an area that needs city certification. The city's going to mark you up on this, this, and this, because I know the city that well. And I can almost tell you anywhere in Macomb, Oakland, or Wayne County, I can tell you what to do with the city, what they're going to mark you up on. Cities are a lot different. Like you got the city of Lincoln Park, for example. City of Lincoln Park has it where they just do outside inspections, but they're very meticulous about their outside inspections, and that's a pre-sale. And I talk about a rental, they actually come in for the rentals, inside the house. And then there are cities like Dearborn where you can't even close a house unless you have the city certification done. But there are cities like Taylor or Inkster. You don't need a city cert, you can just close the damn deal. So like the city of Dearborn, they're a great example. If your title company tries to call up and say, hey, look I need to get your taxes and assessments, the first thing they do is, did you do your city cert? You're not getting the answer to those questions. In fact, we're putting you on notice that somebody's got to sign off on the city inspection. It hasn't even been ordered yet. And these are the kind of things that I know that I could help you guys out so you can negotiate it down properly as wholesalers to get it for the right price. Because that seller may not know that either. And when they get it halfway into it with, a bozo buyer that says, oh my gosh, we need to see those city certs, and I don't need to see them. I already pre-know what they're going to put on that report. I already know that you have to order it ahead of time. I'm going to order it for you. I'm going to pay for it for you because I know the seller isn't going to do it. Then you can get a deal easier with me than you can with somebody else because I just have the knowledge. By having that knowledge, I'm going to share it with everybody, because if I can share your knowledge with you guys, all you're going to do is be productive. And if you're more productive and have more opportunity in front of you, you can't take on all your opportunity, can you? Who are you going to call? Me. Call me. And I can also help you out. And I want to help you out, because if you do well, more opportunity. And I'll keep on saying it. I'm a little bit deeper than your normal guy, because I want everybody to do well in this room. I don't want you to buy my program. I don't want you to do anything. And what would make me happy is if somebody came to me next year and said, John, I heard you speak. You really motivated me. You know, and that makes me feel good. And again, if you do more real estate, I'm always here for you. I can help you out. And like I say, I'll give out my phone number. Whatever questions you may have or you need help with, I'm going to help. All right? So we'll get into the financing a little bit. So when you find people that want to lend you money, okay, you want to negotiate out your interest rate, all right? If you can, try to have them pay you out the back end of your deal, meaning that try to have them make you monthly installment payments. That can be a little bit of a struggle sometimes for a lot of people that don't have a lot of money. So if you can get paid all the interest when you sell the house, that would make it more beneficial and more easier, okay? I'm not saying in every single instance that's right, but you're going to know as you negotiate it out. Is that the only way is to get them to lend you money as making the monthly installment payments? Then do it. Man, that burger's big. Wow. All right, guys. I want to see you finish that by the time I'm talking. All right, ready, set, go. All right. So the other thing is you want to make sure that you protect whoever you're getting money from. So when you're buying houses, you want to lien that house with a mortgage and a note. Okay? What a mortgage really does, it's a lien on a property. That's what the mechanism is. A note is a promise to pay back. In most simplistic form, if you want to explain it out. What I would suggest if you're going to look for money is to go online and look for mortgage or notes, or contact your local loan officer and they can go over it with you too as well. Because they can explain things, because you're going to have to explain it to the people that you're trying to get money from. If you can't explain the forms properly, it's very difficult and challenging to get money now, isn't it? All right. So in regards to like what percentages, you just try to get the lowest percentage you can. One of my biggest suggestions is if you have anybody that you know that has a house paid off. If you know somebody with a house paid off that's a good friend of yours that would possibly give you money, then they have a gigantic advantage of giving you money, is that they own their house free and clear. If you get a home equity loan done for them, like you go to the bank with them, get a home equity loan, is they get to write off all that interest at the end of the year. So they get a benefit. You can always make additional payments higher than what their payment is, which is based on prime, and it goes up and down constantly. But it's typically really low. I mean, right now, I don't think it's any more than probably 4.5%. So even if you make double that payment, that would be pretty low now, wouldn't it? 9% is not bad on getting money. I get my money in an average about 8.5%. I started off though at 16%. And then what I did is I kept on acquiring more properties. I needed more money, so I kept on reaching out to more and more people. When I would do that, then I would try to negotiate my interest rate a little bit lower. So started at 16, next people I got at 14. So then I would go back to the people at 16, that had been lending me for a while. I say, hey, look guys, I don't really need your money now because I kept on looking for more money and I can get everything at 14. Do you want to do 14 now? They're like, yeah, we've invested with you for so long, we trust you. It's good. And then I whittled it all the way down now, where it's 8% for any investor under $500,000. Anybody over $500,000 that wants to lend out a lot, I typically do 9. Because it's easier for me to fund like 4 or 5 deals at 9% going to one person than it is for me to go to 4 separate people. So it's more of like just to make the work easier to do it. And I actually have an individual in my office that does it all for me. I don't do it myself. I just kind of refer it out. And what's nice is I've been doing this for so long that I get referrals. Like, I'll get somebody that says, hey, we've been lending your money for a long time. They tell a coworker, their daughter. I actually have a granddaughter now. I have like, where I had like the parent, and then I had the child, and now I have their child. I got like 3 generations of them just lending me money. You know, I've been doing this almost 20 years. Go ahead.
So, if you have multiple lenders on one deal?
No, typically it's only one.
Who gets first lien? That's the question about first lien.
You know what's funny is my lenders don't even care because they know I'm just going to pay them. But typically it's only one lender per house. It makes it simple and easy.
I need
When
you to
say I have
repeat
that
it.
many-
I need you to repeat the question.
Go ahead.
No, you repeat.
Oh, repeat the question? All right. What he was asking is that do you have multiple like lenders on one house? And really I don't. I typically only have one lender per house. But again, my lenders don't really care. They just want to get paid the interest. All right, because I've been doing it for so long. But yeah, typically just one per house. It makes it a lot simpler and easier too as well. And if there's any real estate problem, I never give them the house back. It's not like, hey, I can't do this or that. It's probably the worst thing you can ever do is give a house back to somebody, because that's not what they want. They want the interest. So I even lend out money too as well. And if there's a problem with one of those houses, I am not giving the lender the house back. I'm taking care of the problem with the house, and they're just always going to get their interest. That's all anybody really cares about. If you're going to lend me money, you just want the interest, right? You don't want to hear about my problems. You just want the interest. End of the day. All right. So one of the other things too is when you're flipping houses is acquiring houses. You know, right now, especially in the middle of summer, like we are in right now, it's very challenging because everybody thinks their house is worth a lot of money in the summertime for whatever reason. And the market's even good right now too as well. So, I mean, that's why I stay in touch with every single person I ever can. A lot of people in my position, what they do is, oh, they're just giving me a whole bunch of stuff in Detroit and it's all garbage. What I do is I talk to them. You know, I say, hey, look at this property, unfortunately, won't work out. It's too much. I flip everything too, by the way. I don't keep anything as rentals. So, and I'm not saying that's good or bad or otherwise. It's just what I personally do. All right? You can make a lot of money 1,000 different ways in real estate. There's no right way or wrong way. I'm just telling you what I do. Okay? So with those houses I'm flipping all the time, I just go out there and I get the lender, give them the secured on that house. We get it secured with a mortgage and note. We record the mortgage and note with the county. All right, so they're protected. And then when we go ahead and close on it, then they get paid off their initial investment along with the interest due to that day. All right, and then I just do it that way. And then in regards to acquiring more and more real estate, that I just keep in touch with all those wholesalers, like I was mentioning. If the wholesalers give me a lot of properties that don't work for me, at least what I'm going to do is I'm going to make suggestions on things that will work and how I can help them out. Because again, this person's already trying to wholesale. And if they're just giving me properties that don't work or may not work for anybody, it's better just to help them out. Because if I can help them out, then they could be a wholesaler that I get a lot of properties from. Here's a great example. All right, there's this one gentleman that called me up about a property, and we're talking about a piece of vacant land in Southfield. All right, and I asked this gentleman, I was like, okay, so you want to wholesale this property to me? What is the frontage on this lot? I need to know, because I need to know what kind of house I can build on it. Because I need to know how wide it is. And he just couldn't answer the question. I was like, hey, you're going to need some help, I can tell already. All right. He was an engineer that came from Germany. So he wasn't born here. He was only in the country for about 10 years. And he really wanted to get out of his engineering job and just do the wholesaling. So he started doing it, and he called me about that property, and then I just would help him out the entire time. So anything that he needed, and he was a smart guy, and so he kept on getting better and better. And so now I buy about 20 properties from him, and it's because I helped him out. He quit his job. I acquire almost 90% of what he has for wholesaling, so he got to quit his job because I spent the trouble and the effort to get him to be able to wholesale the way he does. I get the properties, he makes the money too as well, and he got to quit his job. And I've done that with numerous people, where I've mentored them, I helped them out, and they have excelled and then done really well. Lots and lots of people. So that's the reason why I do even what I'm doing, and that's why I'm even speaking here today. And again, I'm here to help. So if I can help you out, you know, I'm here to do it. So in regards to acquiring more properties, I think it's really wise to look at a lot of properties and bid on a lot of properties. But you have to have the funding to back you. So there's no like right way to start it. Do you look for the properties first? Do you get the lending first? Do you get the money first? What do you do? It's almost what you need to do the whole spectrum of everything. You have to know that you have the confidence to go out there and acquire a house at the right price. So if you need help with that, then what I would highly suggest is, like for you guys right here, where do you live? Canton? All right, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to not probably do this in Canton. Canton's going to be almost next to impossible. All right, so you're going to have to take like an area, say like, I don't know, take like Wayne, you know, take Dearborn Heights, Westland, and start hitting those neighborhoods hard. You know, start looking at Zillow, start calling all the realtors that have them for sale, and start getting into the houses. Do you know how to quote out a rehab well? No? All right, let me ask you a question. Do you own a house? Do your parents own a house? Would you happen to live with your parents? No, God bless you. I wish I still lived with my parents. It's a lot cheaper. All right, so if you do, and I don't want you to be embarrassed, actually it'll work out with your benefit of what I'm going to tell you, is that your parents live in a house that has a roof, and it has plumbing, and it has electrical, and it has a basement, hopefully, maybe a garage. It has all that stuff? Great. So what you can do is, to help you out to be able to quote rehabs good, is that call 5 roofers over your parents' house. Sit down with them. Ask them all the same questions. And eventually when you're done with those 5 roofers, guess what you're going to know how to quote out? A roof, correct. You may drive your parents crazy, but you're a kid anyway, so you can probably do that for them. You're going to do it anyways. And maybe they need a roof anyways. The other thing when you do stuff like this is that you can quote out painting, cabinets, electrical, plumbing, whatever you need to learn about. And the other thing is that you're going to start acquiring contractors when you get the houses, so now you have the contractors to do the work. Out of those 5 roofers, you may be like, this guy was super cool, he answered all my questions, I could tell that he'll cut me a good deal on a price, he's here to try to help me out. I'm going to use this guy. So you start acquiring then some contractors too as well. So you're doing 2 things. You're learning about the cost of things, and you're getting the contacts. So go ahead and drive your parents nuts. I drove my parents crazy, still do. I don't think it's necessary at all. I almost think that it's better for you to be the facilitator of everything and not really do one solid thing. I'm not saying that's good or bad or otherwise. I just think it's good to have one person where you're overseeing the whole thing. So maybe it's not necessary for you to go in there and paint, but if you like painting, do it. You know what I mean? If you can save some money, do it. You know, there's no wrong or right answer. You know, you could go and get your contractor's license. You may want to do rehabs for other investors. They may hire you if you get it. You know what I mean? It's what you think you want to do with your time and energy. If you think it's good and it fits your personality and you like to try it, then good. Because you're a young guy, you might have to try a whole bunch of different things for you to find the one thing that fits what you want to do in your life. You know what I mean? Especially if it's in real estate. There's so many different facets that you don't know until you try something or don't. So what I'm trying to say is do it for you. Don't do it because you think it's a benefit of something. You know, do it for yourself.
So John, and any other investors in the room, I'm curious, with the new NAR lawsuit, a lot of realtors are in a place where buyer agency agreements have to be signed now. So just curious, would that be a turn away from partnering with a local realtor?
Well, one, I list all my own properties. I have a broker's license, and actually, I think it's a benefit of what's going on through the MLS. My benefit is I sell my own houses. So I don't have a problem paying out commissions whatsoever. And in fact, I'm probably gonna blast across everywhere that I pay out commissions. I'm selling my houses. I love realtors. I'll pay you no matter what. It doesn't matter to me. So I think it's actually a benefit to people.
Can I do a follow-up? If I am able to help you acquire properties less than, where there's enough of a margin, would you let me list it?
This is what I typically do is, I'll pay you something out the back end. I typically want to control my own deals, okay? And the other thing that I do is, and I'm going to tell you another reason why, is that anytime somebody shows one of my properties, I call for feedback and I call to get deals. So that's one of the reasons is, and no offense to any realtor, but I negotiate like crazy. You know what I mean? That's all I do all day and all night. So I definitely, you will get compensated at the back end. And I tell that to everybody. I'd be like, hey, look, if I do real well with this, you're getting your money. And then I cut them a check and they were very excited. They're like, oh, I thought you forgot about me, or you know what I mean? I thought you're never gonna pay me. So I wanna make sure everybody gets compensated that gives me properties or helps me or whatever the case is. So look, give me whatever you got, and I'll make sure you make your money that you're going. In fact, I'll even tell you this, it is a crazy number. I ended up my wholesaling fees of what I paid last year. It's over $1 million. That's how much I paid in wholesaling fees last year. So I don't have any problem with anyone making money as long as I can acquire the property for what I want to acquire it for. If somebody makes a lot of money, God bless them. So like if they make a little bit, I feel bad. I try to work out something for them. If they make a lot of money, I say good for you. So if you want to wholesale me something, that's fine. If you want to sell me something, you want to make commission on it, that's fine too as well. You got any more questions?
Tons, but I don't want to.
Go ahead.
You just don't want to stand up here with me.
This is my first time coming, and shout out to Eddie, who I only just learned was the host of this wonderful event. So let's give Eddie a nice little.
All right, Eddie.
So, do people still use the term buy box?
Yes, all the time.
Okay, and so I do know how to price roofings because I do own a home and I get quotes all the time. My house is a little older, so thank you for that tip, and I'm going to take that home and use it. But also, is it best to find out a person's buy box? Like, what are you buying in, and what are your minimums and ARVs? And that's all I'll ask you.
Okay. So people ask me that a lot about what do I buy and what don't I buy, so they can figure out, hey, am I calling this guy about the right property? And I make it super simple. I say, just let me know anything you have in Macomb, Oakland, or Wayne County, and don't worry about anything else. I'll worry about it. So yeah, I want to see every opportunity. So a lot of times, like, people like limit out things that they think. They may go and look at my inventory. Like, there's a lot of realtors in this room, right? How many realtors are in this room? All right. So we got some realtors in here. So a lot of times they're like, even after this, they might go in and check me out through the MLS and see like what I've been purchasing. And so it's hard because I buy everywhere, and they may just see like a limited amount of what I buy or something because it just caught their eye. But I'm not limited that way. So I'm very broad, and I like to keep it that way because then more people contact me. And so they can contact me about a lot of properties that don't like really fit maybe exactly what I do. And the only place that I'm really like kind of picky at is Detroit. Everywhere else, I always say if it's standing on 1 2x4, I'm bidding on it, no matter what. But if it's in Detroit, I have to make sure it's in a flippable area where somebody actually is going to purchase that as their own home and live there. And there's a lot of areas where it's just not possible. Like I looked at one for today that the house looked great, but the problem is there was a drug dealer right across the street and a party store right down the street. I'm like, there's no way that a first-time home buyer is going to buy this house. There's no way. It's not going to be it. It's like that house was like park cars, walk right in the house. Park cars right, and like I'm in my car and he's probably like, oh, this is like Secret Service or something like that. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, get here to this house so I can look at it so I can get the hell out of here. You know, before you know, come knocks on my window and goes, hey, what are you doing here? You know, I'm trying to look at the house across the street. And that one didn't work anyways because the foundation was very poor on it too. So even the house itself, I couldn't do it because a first-time home buyer is not going to buy a house with every single foundation wall moved all over the place and a whole bunch of braces on it. It's just not going to work. So, I mean, Detroit's one of the areas, like Highland Park, Hamtramck, those are difficult areas sometimes to flip houses in. But if you were talking about outside of that, I'm buying everything. I'll bid on everything. You know, typically, you know, I get about 20 to 30 properties shipped to me in one day. And I probably go and look at 10 to 15 every single day. So I go on about 70 appointments minimal a week. You know, and that's a lot. I mean, if you talk to a realtor, you're like, what the hell, how can you do that? And it's so second nature, I just book them all up. I mean, I'm dealing with a lot of homeowners and tenants and realtors and, you know, when they can get to the house. Realtors are my favorite because they're always, what are they? They never make it on time, do they? They're always late. They drive me crazy. I'd rather deal with a wholesaler than even a real estate agent because they're never on time for whatever reason. I don't know, they think they're too important. Hey, look it, I'm one too. But yeah, I mean, I'm just out there looking at a lot of houses. I bid on a lot of houses. You know, I bid on about 3,000 houses a year to get my 250 houses. You know, so any more? If people have questions, you gotta come up though. You gotta come up. Can't be shy. Everybody's too shy. Come on up. Maybe a longer cord here. Okay.
So I guess my first question is, you said, so your bids on houses, are they formal bids on houses, or are they, I mean, are you writing actual purchase agreements that you're sending, or are you just texting and saying, I'm offering this?
Okay. So the ones that are listed through the MLS, because realtors want them in writing, I get it to them in writing. So, I mean, for me, I'll tell you my process. Okay, so the property's listed, I go ahead and look at it. When I'm done looking at it, then I just assess the numbers on it. And then what I do is I go ahead and send out an email right to my assistant that writes all my offers, and she knows exactly what I want to offer on it, and then she sends it out within an hour of that time frame. All right, now the properties that are through wholesalers, they don't need anything formally. All I do is just tell them my number, and then they make a decision whether they want to sell it to me or not. Okay? And then there's some wholesalers where I'm actually going through with them, or they just set me up on appointments. Like they don't even go with me. So like I have wholesalers, I always say to them, look it's a lot easier if you just stay at your desk and hustle for me. You don't have to run around, I'll do all that. You know, so I have about a half dozen wholesalers that just set me up on appointments. I go, and then I tell them exactly what I told Eddie. Is like, hey, look, I can bid this much on it. If they can bid it, you know, get any lower than that, they got instantaneous profit. And two, I give them all the ammunition they need to negotiate the deal properly. In regards to the condition of the house, the city inspections, maybe even like what I get from the seller. You know, some sellers, you know, they give me indications of this and that. I'm telling that wholesaler everything I possibly can tell them. Typically, I look at a house for 5 minutes and I talk a half an hour about it. You know, I'm just able to assess it very quick and easy. You got to understand how many offers you could probably think I've made in the past. It's a ridiculous amount. In fact, there's a lot of people that say, John, I want to ride along with you and check out houses with you. And I go, you're just not going to understand anything. Because I walk through a house in 5 minutes, and then I'm in the car, and I'm already talking to the wholesaler exactly about what I want to offer. You know, I mean, I can explain how I'm assessing it, but I do it so quickly and so easily that it's very hard. I mean, I have to get more detailed and talk to you about what I'm doing, but that's even if I can keep up with what I'm doing. You know what I mean? You know, I already lose my voice almost every single day, but it's because I talk all day long. And when I say that I prepare myself to talk and to view all those houses. Every time I view a house and I need to make an offer, guess who I'm talking to? I'm talking to either a realtor or I'm talking to a wholesaler. And then in between all that, I'm trying to set up more appointments for the following day. So what I'm doing is 80% of my day is talking to the people that get me houses. And again, I could go over a whole meeting on how to prepare a day. I really could. It's crazy, and maybe Eddie will do it for the next time, because like I can tell you in great detail what the things you need to think about and how you need to prepare your day, and then all of a sudden you're going to be making money like you wouldn't believe. And it's just because you worry about your next day. You know, I like I say, I really like getting into the next day and knowing that I'm going to accomplish a lot. It makes me feel good. I said to myself when I first started real estate, right? I didn't even know how to talk to an adult when I started in real estate. I was very, very young. All I did was skateboard, go out with my girlfriend, and work at Red Lobster. That's all I did, okay? So when I got into real estate, it's because of a guy named Carlton Sheets. It's this guy from a long time ago in the 80s. He was on infomercials, and he really inspired me. I was like maybe a sophomore in high school, and I saw this dude, and I was like, this is cool. He's got all these big checks, no money down. That sounds great. And now I kind of do that, and I kind of do it even supersized of even what he even explained. And I kind of did it like not even knowing it, but I did exactly what that program was. So it was kind of interesting that something spurred me that young, and then I was able to live it out, you know. And now I'm 54 years old. So like, you know, and that was a long, long time ago. You're talking about 1984 or something like that. You know, the Michael Jordan coming out of, you know, college years. You know, so that was a long, long time ago. But it was kind of cool that, you know, that kind of captured me. It was always in my back of my head. And then I just, you know, started skateboarding a lot and stuff like that. And then I got into real estate. And like I say, I did not know how to talk to an adult. Like, it was almost impossible, because I was like, hey, I kickflipped a 10-stair. No one knows what that means, right? You know what it means even? This guy knows what it means. It's because he's young. So like I couldn't go to an adult and say that and talk about like what I did on my skateboard. So I really struggled at, you know, speaking. But what I would say to myself in the mirror every single day was, hard as you could for that one day. I don't care if something happened where it made money or didn't make money. I just wanted to make sure that I was true to myself, that I put in all that effort that one day, and I kept on doing that. And then all of a sudden, within 2 years, I was one of the top producers in my real estate, you know, like, you know, office. You know, I was doing over $6 million in 1997. Yeah, so I mean, I'm talking about making $200,000 in 1997, my second full year in real estate. And on top of it, I never quit Red Lobster that year either. So like, I tried one time to tell somebody, hey, I'm making this kind of money, and they're like, yeah, sure, right. You know, so I never did it again. And then luckily I got married that year, and when I got married, I said, just put me off the schedule for my honeymoon, and so I never went back then. So that was in 1997. I got married, quit my Red Lobster job, and just, you know, worked at real estate full time as hard as I could. And then that year, also in '97, I bought my first house. Started working with investors, and you know, started to learn about like what was a good deal, what wasn't a good deal from my investor clients. Learning the investor clients that were really legitimate, or the ones that said they just wanted a good deal. Because everybody wants a good deal, right? How many people in this room want a good deal in a house? Come on, everybody. Yeah, so yeah, everybody says it, but do they actually do it, is a question. So it was fun for me to figure out, you know, when I first started selling real estate, which ones were really investors and which ones were the wannabe ones. And then I was out and wanted to show a house to a particular client, and that client just couldn't make it to the house. I was like, this is too good of a deal, I'm just gonna buy it. And you're talking about like a spoiled suburban kid. I was from Sterling Heights. My dad was making hundreds of thousands of dollars in the 80s because he worked for IBM. You know, he's like a Bill Gates type of guy. Black flame grasses, pocket protector, new computer language. He was just like the biggest geek ever. But, you know, we had a personal computer in 1979 at our house. He would be like, what the hell is that? What's that thing making noise? Because it was a dialogue. You know, it has a weird sounds to it. So, yeah, my dad was just that guy, and so, like, he made a lot of money, and, like, I didn't have to, like, paint or do anything. So it was very weird for me to work as hard as I worked, and also, like, take a chance on buying a house when I didn't know how to fix up nothing. Zero, you know? I had every color polo shirt in order to man, but I couldn't paint a room, you know? So yeah, I just learned how to do it when I got that house. cleaned it up. Luckily, I got people that bought it from me, and were able to do work. So, and I listed their house, which is kind of cool, and I find the buyer for their house too. So I was able to get both sides of the commission and sell my house and make a little bit of money there and get me kickstarted. And then ever since, I was just hooked. You know, because I always wanted to do it because you know, Carlton Sheets, and just kept on doing it. So year after year, I just acquire more properties, and then we got into the years where the market really went down. We're talking about like 05, 06, 07, 08. And so at that time, I was really familiar with what the market was going to do at that time. What I was doing is, prior to that, I was looking at properties that were bank owned. And so in 1997, there were no more than probably even like 3 or 4 in 1 week in Macomb County. And that's where I lived. So I would just go and look at them because it's kind of cool. I'd be like, okay, I'm working with these investors. I don't need to work around homeowners because they're all vacant. I'm just going to go look at this stuff. So I'd look at it, and then I would say, okay, it's good for this buyer or that buyer. I'd call them up and try to show it to them. But then I started noticing year after year that it was like, it would be like in Eastport and Lake Warren. And then all of a sudden, it would be double the amount. Then all of a sudden, it would start creeping north. So I knew before the market was going to tank, I could see it was going to tank. Just because I looked at every single foreclosure in an entire county. And I kept on doing it. And then I would expand to Oakland County because I kept on getting more and more buyers. So then I kept on getting more buyers in different areas. And then I would do like Wayne County too. At one point, I was like a personal shopper for about like 50 to 100 investors, and they would just buy whatever I told them to buy. Because they knew I knew more than them. Because I was out there in the market, looking at the market, selling it to them, you know, so I kept on getting better and better. So I didn't ever have to show houses. I would just tell them what they were buying. And if they didn't buy it from me, then I just shipped it over to somebody else and never worked with them again. And they knew it, because I would tell them. So I started getting so knowledgeable that I was like, you know, that's why later on in my career, I was like, why am I doing this for everybody else? They're all making good money off my knowledge and my experience. I'm just going to do it all for myself. And started doing that. Yeah, so I'll tell you my reasoning, but again, it really has nothing to do with wrong or right.
Repeat the question.
What was that?
Repeat the question.
Okay. No, it's okay, it's okay. What she asked is why do I just buy and sell houses? Why don't I have rental properties? Right? And the answer to that is that one, my personality, I'm very spazzy and hyper, and I like to work. Okay? So first of all, I know my personality real well. What was that? You can tell by the t-shirt. You can tell? A little crazy? Alright. My shoes match. Yeah, see? Okay, so one, I got that kind of energy. Alright? 2, I like to run around and look at houses, all right? So I want you to understand those 2 things, and eventually I'll run out of money if I just buy a whole bunch of rental houses, okay? 1, it wasn't thrilling for me because I just love to find a good deal and then fix it up and resell it. It kind of sparks me every single day to get out there and do it. So that's another reason is I like to work. Like when you hold houses, it's very passive. Which is good too. I mean, if you have the personality like, hey, I don't want to work, and if I can buy enough houses to get enough income coming in, I don't have to work. But could you imagine a spazzy guy like me around my wife? She's going to want to kill me. So it's better I get out of the house, and she likes me a little bit better, and then I can get my energy just running around looking at houses. So it's more based off of my personality, not so much whether I say it's like wrong or right. There's no wrong or right answer. Okay? All right, so that's what I do. And plus, I have so much opportunity to buy so many houses that why not take advantage of that? And the third thing is, I'll make way more money flipping houses than you could ever have as your rentals. Way more money. You know, if I have that house, I would have to own it for 10 years to make the same kind of money I could just make flipping it. And I have the opportunity. Now, if I lose that opportunity or I don't want to work, then I probably will. I probably will get rental type properties. And I still get rental properties even to this day because there's a lot of properties that I acquire that have tenants. Usually bad tenants, but sometimes when I get them, all of a sudden they turn around because they realize that I'm going to kick them to the curb. So they start paying a lot. So I do have properties that I have that have good paying tenants, but when they are good paying tenants, usually I get like 6 months into them, and if they're paying well, I'll just go to people in my management company and sell it right to them. Yeah, so then I have a property that I can sell to them that I know has a good paying tenant because I have that kind of background on them. I know that they've been paying, so and I don't want anything in my management company with a non-paying crummy tenant. You know what I mean? So I make a little bit of money by doing that, and then they get a good tenant. So I don't have to go out there and work with all these crazy realtors. Go ahead, but I gotta repeat your question. Come on up. Come on up. Oh man. All right. Okay. Go ahead.
What is the average turnaround time to prepare a house?
What's my average turnaround time to flip a house? Okay. All right. So and right now I'm working on 125 houses to flip right now. So if I was taking a house, say for example that is right around, say 100,000 with a $50,000 rehab, I can sell it for about 200. That house would take about like 3 months for me to get it done, and then another month or so to sell it and close on it. So I would say an average time is going to be right around 5 months. For me to buy and sell something. I mean, I sometimes I acquire houses and I sell them right away where I don't do any work to them. Like Mike here, he looked at a house I have over in Farmington Hill. I did no work to it. I just put it up. Really, I cleaned it out though. It had a lot of stuff in it. So that took about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll probably be closed on it within probably a month. But go ahead, go ahead, and then I'll get to you, sir. Correct, yeah. I mean, if you rehab a house pretty well, you'll learn how fast does it sell? Quickly, she says. All right.
What's the question though?
I'm going to get to this gentleman. He just wanted to know how fast the houses sell. Go ahead, sir.
So it's kind of piggybacking his question. So in the winter time, how quickly?
Oh, it's going to take about a month, maybe 2 months longer, as the market slows down.
Repeat your question.
The question was, in the winter time, is it the same amount of time for me to flip a house? And I would say I would add a month or two onto that because the market just slows down at that point. So typically from November to about like maybe end of February, it's a little bit longer.
How do you factor that into
I really don't think what the question was is, do I take that into account, when I'm in those months? What I do is it's kind of an interesting cycle. So during, when you get to the end of the year, like right now, people call me like gangbusters wanting to sell me houses, okay? And it's because most people sell their houses, even investment houses, during the spring and the summer. All right, it automatically even just slows down. So the amount of leads that I get in November, December are less because there's less people. They're thinking about Thanksgiving, they're thinking about Christmas. It's almost the same as real estate in general. Like, Yolanda, you slow down, right? The market slows down. And even my market for the people giving me houses slows down. So it's almost like a natural thing. So when it slows down like that, then I'm just maybe a little bit more conservative. Even in these next couple months, if my turnaround time is 3 months and then I'm in the 4th month, like in 2 months from now, I'm going to be a little more conservative with my bidding because I know I'm going to end up with this house in November and December. So yes, I take that on account. Go ahead, Yolanda.
So they call that vacancy rate. So that would be a number you would calculate. I'm not your average realtor. I have an investor thinking self as well. But my question, that was for you, nice young man, is do you do inspections on all your properties? And how quickly are you able to close once you're happy and all the parties are satisfied? Is it a 10-day?
Are you talking to me when I acquire?
Yeah, when you acquire.
Yeah, when I acquire, typically I'm within always like 2 to 3 weeks. You know, I mean, like, I just had one where we just locked up the contract last week, and I just
Repeat the
closed
question.
today. The question was, what is my turnaround time and how fast I can close? And again, my answer is like, I can do it pretty quick.
And do you do inspections?
Almost never. The only times I really do inspections is only on things I can't see, like a septic. You know, like wells. You know, I do well and septic inspections typically. You know, or if I see evidence that there's backup sewer-wise. Like if I go down in a basement and I'm seeing toilet paper all over the entire floor, that means it's backing up. So I might have to stick a scope down the sewer. You know, because I can't see that sewer line. You know, so that's the only time I really do inspections, but it's very few and far between. Very few. Other than foundation issues, what reasons would I not buy a house? Is that correct? I still buy them with bad foundations. It just can't be calculated out with other things like party stores and yeah, stuff like that. So yeah, no, I bought numerous properties with foundation issues. Again, I'll go over this again. Suburbs, standing on this last 2x4, I'm big on. All right, okay. But in the city of Detroit, I'm a little bit more pickier. You know, I'm not going to take something with a bad foundation. And I always say this too. Detroit properties are a dime a dozen. I mean, I can pick them up all day and all night if I want to. All right? Why get something that has additional problems? You know, why would I get something with a squatter in there? Why would I get something with a bad foundation? Why would I take a house with all boarded up houses around it that don't, you know, I can never like really sell it to a first-time home buyer? There's no reason. I mean, I have before because I picked them up so damn cheap. You know, I mean, I just picked up one in Kentucky where the whole neighborhood, just shot up, but I picked it up so inexpensive that it was worthwhile for me to do so. So I still do, you know, so I'm not the most pickiest person, which is good for most people out there because, like, wholesalers in general, their leads come from all over the place. Like, I mean, when I bought in Monroe that I just mentioned, like that wholesaler had me on the east side of Detroit. I mean, there's not too many one-person investors like me that cover that much ground. I just bought one in French Township. I don't even know if you guys know where that is or not. You know, so like, I mean, that's what makes me special is that I'm so diverse on where I buy that it makes it a lot easier for a wholesaler to go, hey, I'm just going to John. I know he's going to buy something from me. You know what I mean? And he's not going to just limit it out. I'm going to get this guy right here. Go ahead, sir. Oh, he's coming up. All right.
You ever bought a property that you regret and you didn't make money on it?
Hell yeah. Yeah, of course. Oh, there's tons of them. You know, I buy something in an area that maybe I wasn't familiar enough with, and I made a mistake. You know, bought a property that needed too much extensive amount of work, and I didn't understand it. So like numerous times. But when I say numerous times, you gotta understand the quantity that I do. So it's probably like 1 out of like 50 that I probably shouldn't have bought. You know what I mean? I made a mistake. I mean, even with all my knowledge, I'm still gonna make mistakes. I'm human. You know, sometimes I wasn't thinking straight, you know, didn't calculate the rehab right. Maybe there was some unknown factor. Like I had one where I had to hook it up. Like the septic checked out fine, but then the county said that, look, we're not gonna let you use your septic anymore. I was like, oh my goodness, you know, now I gotta hook it up. That was very costly. So like, there's a lot of things that I can't foresee on everything either. You know, I mean, I'm sharp, I'm smart, but I can't account for everything, and I'm going to make mistakes, just like any other individual would do. So I'm not perfect by no means, but luckily I make way more better decisions than I make bad decisions. All right, we got more people coming out. I love it. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good. My name is Dominic. I'm a broker and a wholesaler as well.
Okay.
I've actually talked to you before. We had a text back and forth.
Very good.
I sent you a copy of the next one. I'm sorry. John does get back with you very quick, so I'll send him these. He'll text you back right away, so I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
I always try to get back with everybody because it shows respect. Because like, one of the things that's very challenging is that if you don't get back with a wholesaler, what is the wholesaler going to do with you the next time? Is he ever going to call you back again? If you're blowing him off because the property wasn't that great, at least I have the respect to call him up and say, hey, look, unfortunately, that particular property won't work. But give me everything else you got, or let me help you out. And I'm sure I probably gave you some words of wisdom, didn't I?
So the question for you is, thank you, appreciate that. So the question is, do you have an exact formula, like 70% minus ARV, minus repairs, that kind of thing? Okay.
I really don't, because here's the thing is, let's say, for example, Dominic, that you give me a property, and I'll even do one that I just locked up like a couple days ago. All right, it was in Warren, like one house off of 8 Mile. All right, it's 3 bedrooms on a crawl, has a garage. It's torn apart, it's tagged by the city. So it's not that great of a property, but I was able to pick it up for 25 grand. How fast can you sell a $25,000 house in the city of Warren that's 3 bedrooms with a garage? Dominic, tell me what price you probably could sell that for it off the top of your head.
Like 120,000.
Yeah, how much do you wholesale right now?
Oh, 50,000.
Right, so that one, like, I'm just buying it, whether I make 5 grand on it, whether I make 10 grand on it, it's only a $25,000 investment. So when you're talking about margins, mine are a little bit different because I have, a lot of money at my capacity, and I want to use that. And so if I'm making a wholesaler happy by taking that deal, that's one good thing, right? Because then a wholesaler is going to keep on feeding me properties. And 2, even if I just made 5 grand on that $25,000 investment, and it took me 1 month, I would do that deal every single day. And I think you guys would do it too. So like, I can't really say there's a typical average, but let's go over something like this. Let's do a typical house. All right, let's say it's a $100,000 purchase, $50,000 rehab. I sell it for $200. And those numbers make sense all day, But as I invest less, then my margin could be smaller than okay. And I take a lot into account. If I got a really hard wholesaler or a really hard working agent for me, I may just take something to get them so they keep on giving me properties. If I told you no on 15 different properties straight, it's going to be hard for you to call me or text me or email me again. But I may just take one just to make you happy. And if it does that, you're going to know it. You're going to be like, this one's kind of marginal, but I'm just going to do it. I think I'll do all right. You make money on the deal. I maybe make marginal money, but then you're giving me more properties. So there's a lot to account for, even more than just making pure profit on the house. But as you invest more, then my margin needs to be bigger. Like if you're getting into something where I'm acquiring something for $250. And I got to put $100,000 into it, those margins must be big. Because the time and effort I have to put into that house is larger. I'm tying up a crew on that house for twice as long or 3 times as long as I could flip 3 other houses that I could make easy profits of $30,000 on. So I have to make like 100 on that house plus. Because I could spend my money in much better places than when I have all this money tied up into. And it's going to take twice as long, and I lean out my buyers once I get that place done because now it's in a really high price level. So the margin has to be a lot more on something I have a lot more money into and taking up a lot of my contractor's time, which really is my time. All right, Dominic, you good? All right, no problem. Thank you. All right. I might have you come up. No, you won't do it? Okay. All right, go ahead. Are you talking about like taxes?
Is that active? What do you consider active? What did you say write-off? How does that
Okay,
affect?
all right. So she was talking about if I was to have like passive income, and also like with rentals, you can write off a lot too as well. You're not declaring an income so much because you're writing off a lot, because you're just collecting rent and then you have expenses on the house and so on and so forth. So you're not realizing as much profit. So let me talk a little bit about myself, and I can just talk about everything in general too as well. I own a company, okay? So my company, it's easier for me to write off taxes because I'm incorporated, okay? Rather than an LLC or just doing it in your personal name, all right? So I have that benefit, but the tax bracket I'm in anyways, there's no such a thing as what you're talking about, all right? 50% is gonna go out no matter what. I don't even have a choice. And you gotta understand too, that I'm doing so much business that there's no way I can fool around with taxes. There's no way. You know, everybody I do business with gets 1099. There's no like on the side stuff. I can't do it. I'll lose my insurance even. So I'm a little bit different. Like you guys can play around a little bit. You know, you can kind of maneuver away of what you're going to declare, what you're not going to declare, or whatever the case is. Yolanda, don't smile too much, all right? Don't smile too much. You never know when the IRS is listening. So it's a little bit easier, you know, to navigate around when you're not as large as I am, okay? When you're large as I am, there's really nothing I can really do because of the amount of money I make. It's very hard. So I just pay out my quarterly taxes are outrageous. I make an outrageous amount of money and I'm just gonna keep on doing it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you can definitely navigate with rentals. You know, I mean, even if I did it that way, I could conserve a lot more money, but the end result is I still make a heck of a lot more money flipping houses. All right, this gentleman, you gotta come up, you're way too far, I probably can't even hear you. All right, look, he's thrilled to come up here, here you coming. What's up, man? How are you? Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of ask you, like, what your contract...
We're gonna do the camera too.
All right. Hey, guys. I just wanted to ask, like, what your contractor agreements are like, and how are you structuring all these contractors? Are you using subcontractors? Are they in-house? What's that look like?
Okay, here, let me explain it. All right, so I have one project manager that oversees another project manager per house, okay? And that project manager per house is the one that contracts out everything, okay? So what I do with my project manager is I get a budget, all right? So he puts a budget on the house, and then we just go to the contractors that we already use. So I have about 20 that 75% of their business is my business, okay? So they're not looking around for, like, you know, other jobs because I just give them house after house. And if they can handle more than one house, then I see if they can handle more than one house, and I let them handle as many as they can. Some can do more than a half dozen at all times. Some can just do one house, all right? But they're all good to me. And so then my project manager knows who to give the house to. And these guys, we've been dealing with them, you know, for a long time. You know, I would say like every 6 months, maybe we get a new contractor, but you know, maybe 6 months to a year, maybe one new one. So we don't let go of many. It's more that I keep on buying more. So I have this vicious cycle going on. I make a lot of money, and with that money, I have more money now. And with that more money that I have, I need to buy more houses. So it kind of keeps me in this crazy cycle. And so yes, I do need more contractors. But most people say they struggle with contractors, and that's typically true. I don't really have that problem because contractors have always been seeking out a person like myself. You know, they want something with a standardized rehab. They don't have to be at that job every single day. I have a project manager that helps them problem solve and gives them contractors to help them with. We pay on time. We have a lot in place so they know that, wow, this is structured properly. And when we get the right contractor, we can tell because they've been like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. This works out perfect for me. Usually other investors are very disorganized. They change a lot of stuff all the time. They don't know what they want. I mean, so like we're very much like a standardized, same way, same procedure, pay the same way. So there's no guessing with them. You know, so that's how I kind of do it with my contractors. But yeah, it's very challenging for people when you're just trying to do one house, and they kind of get a feel that you're kind of a novice. So it makes it very challenging. You don't know who to trust and who not to trust. So I get it and I understand, but they're certainly not going to do that to me. You know, because they know better. You know. Yeah, exactly. I show value to them, and also my project manager is pretty intimidating too. You know what I mean? You know, like he can read somebody and know, like this dude doesn't know what he's doing. You know what I mean? We're not even going to give him the job. Yeah. But I appreciate the question. Nice to finally meet you. Yeah, go ahead. Come on up here. You gotta work off some of that pizza.
Is it hard to buy a foreclosure?
It's not hard to buy a foreclosure, but it is challenging to get them for the right price. Because typically foreclosures, I would say almost all of them are going to be listed properties. Okay. Here's the thing. What I would tell you about foreclosures is, just because it's a foreclosure doesn't mean it's a good deal. I don't know why even these investors haven't stuck in their head, oh, it's a foreclosure, it's a great deal. Yolanda, is that true? No, but the investors kind of think that for some reason. I don't know why. It's usually ones that don't actually know. What's a good deal is if you can get it for the right price. And I've gotten properties that have been $200,000, and I get them for $100 because I just bid on them. So that's the one thing is, once you get familiar with getting out there and knowing what the renovations are going to cost, knowing that you have an investor that's going to give you money, is that just get out there and just start bidding. And that's a thing for you too, Mike. I think you're a little bit hesitant on that too as well. So yeah, you want to really keep in mind that getting out there and making bids won't hurt. But you got to follow up, and you have to have a realtor that's going to follow up, or yourself follow up, to make sure you soften it. You just can't shove offers all over the place and expect people to keep on coming to you or take you seriously either. And I think, Yolanda, you're probably going to hit on that, weren't you?
Well, I was going to ask you, have you considered just going to the auction at that point, if you've got the investors ready to write the checks? But I work with off-market. I'm making calls all the time for pre-foreclosure when available.
Yolanda, he's going to get real mad at you.
Who?
You?
Not at me.
Because he can't hear her.
I'm trying to use my outside voice. And I think I'm right here. So
That's not the point, but
I don't even know my question or what it was. Just about, do you work with folks who want to go to auction?
Do I work with people that goes to like the sheriff sale auctions, things like that?
Yeah.
I don't. I don't do it personally. And again, there's no wrong or right answer. You can make a lot of money by going to those auctions, okay? Here's the thing is, I have the opportunity just to buy houses. When you go to an auction, like a sheriff sale, it matters if they redeem the property or not. So you can put your money up and never get a house. You might get interest for it, but you might not get the house. I'm not into that, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It's just when I go to a house, again, I'm spazzy hyper. I want an answer. I don't want my money sitting there either. So I just go, hey, look it. We put a deal together. We don't put a deal together. If we do, I know I'm just going to buy it. And do deals not close? Absolutely. Some of the deals don't close. But my money's not sitting there either. It's just a deposit. That's all that's sitting there. So I don't have my money sitting around hoping that I can get a house. Plus, I don't have the time or the effort to go to those sellers and go, hey, look, you want to get out of your house? What are you going to do? I don't have time for all that. And in fact, I always state, and remember, I pay over $1 million out to wholesalers in a year. And I say, God bless you guys. God bless the agents. I do not want to talk to the seller. That's a hassle. That's craziness. I'm bidding on 10 houses a day. Do you think I have time to talk to a seller about their siblings, about cleaning out a house, about their grandmother that can't get out? I don't have time for all that. I have time to bid on a house, and you guys can make the extra money to do all that stuff. I do not have the time or the effort to do it. You got any more questions? They gonna eat your pizza? No, that's okay, go ahead.
So I just wonder, so a foreclosure is not like a red flag, right?
No, not at all. It could be a great deal, or it could be an awful deal. Oh yeah, definitely. Here, look at. It's easy for a realtor to take you to that house. It's vacant. And you know, it's easy and simple, and you can go anytime you want. You know what I mean? Like, it's not where you got to work around a seller that might be there or a tenant that might be there. So it's a lot easier to show. So again, I think what you need to do is get out there and look at houses, get quotes on your parents' house, start talking to people that might have a property that's owned free and clear. You know, see if you can get some money from them, and just start doing that and prepare yourself for tomorrow. You know, get so you can like really book up your day tomorrow and start doing some of the things to say so you can start, you know, fulfilling what you want to fulfill. All right, no problem. You're welcome. I'm gonna get a Jolly Rancher here. Anybody, you got a question?
Yeah, so when you sell your house, do you use a site like Zillow or do you have your own website?
Okay, let me explain. I'm trying to open this Jolly Rancher. Working on it. You got it. All right, the question was, how do I market my properties? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. One, I basically just use the multi-list. I find that's one of my best sources of selling my houses. The other thing is that I use also Eric Monzo. He sometimes sells some of my properties I just want to sell that I don't do any renovation to. Like if I think if it's something that he can just sell to his investor group, I'll do it too as well. So he's kind of like wholesaling it out too. You know, I get it from a wholesaler, but I picked it up so inexpensive, I know I can get rid of it again. And the third thing I do is I don't really market my properties with like a sign. So what I did is I established a relationship with Jim Schaefer. Okay, Jim Schaefer is a real estate broker out of the city of Royal Oak. And he's got a whole bunch of agents that need to get leads from him. He's like the lead agent, and he does a lot of advertising, and then he has a whole bunch of agents work on all those leads, okay? So I said to him, hey, look, I have about 200 renovated properties a year. I am never going to take a sign call. I am never going to do an open house. Would you like to do it? And would you pay me per house? And he said yes. So now I get more marketing by him doing that. He's got a sign up. He's got a whole bunch of agents working on all those sign calls. He runs ads. He puts it on like a lot of internet sites. He does open houses. That helps me get more marketing exposure, and he pays me. So it works out real well. I came up with that idea myself. It's about 40 to 50 grand a year. And to have marketed properties, and then I get more exposure on my listings anyhow. All right. Oh, I gotta wrap it up. This guy's saying, "You hungry again? You need more cheese sticks?" All right. Well, I appreciate it, Eddie, for you inviting me here. I hope everybody got something out of this. If you ever need any help with anything, have any properties for me, just need some insight in anything real estate wise, you can call me. I'll go ahead and tell you my phone number. It's 586-944-5646. 944 John 5646. 944. What's my name? John. 944, and then what's my name? John. Okay, if you spell John, you're going to get my phone number. So it's 944-5646. It spells my name. I got my phone such a long time ago, I was able to pick it. All right, I appreciate it again. Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
You take it over.
All right, don't go anywhere.
Oh, man.
All right, normally I wrap it up by asking a few questions, but your talk was so good, you inspired the people and they asked so many questions. I only have one question to ask you. What was the best piece of advice that you ever received in your life?
Oh man, I think it was my parents just knowing that I was always going to do something good. like my mom would always say, you know, you're going to do something good. So I think like if you have children or people around you, even if you don't think for whatever reason that your children, your friends, your family, just give them a pat on the back and say, you're going to be able to do something. Because I don't think if my mom did that, I don't think I would ever have it in the back of my head that I ever could. So I think it's just, she had the trust that I was always going to do something, even though I was the biggest pain in the ass of a kid you could possibly imagine. So spazzy, hyper, I was just difficult. But she always knew that I was going to do something, and I would say that that's the piece of advice I can give you to give to somebody else. That you may like it's even hard for me. I got a son that's 16 years old. You know how thrilling that could be. You know what I mean? So it's just a difficult age, and he doesn't seem like he's got his head screwed on straight. But I just got to give him like, hey, look, you're going to do something. I think if you did that for everybody around you, that there's a good possibility. Trusted in the people that love you, that you're going to do something good, that they actually can.
All righty, thank you very much. As I mentioned to you on the phone, John, we've been doing these events for 2 years monthly now, and we haven't missed a month, except for when we did webinars during 3 of the winter months. But I think the people here that have come to some of the other events would definitely agree with me. This was one of the best, if not the best, presentations that we've ever had, so we really appreciate it. Alrighty, once again, to the people that are watching via YouTube, we are here the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. We bring in different speakers to cover different aspects of investment real estate. For those of you sitting here live who've never checked us out on YouTube, and if you have missed any of our prior meetings, National Real Estate Investment Network. I can't remember the whole name. National Real Estate Investment Network. We have a lot of excellent videos on there, tutorials that will help you in your real estate path. Again, we are here the third Tuesday of every month, 7 p.m., and it is always free. Now, one thing that we always do is we allow anyone to come up if they want to make an announcement about their real estate related business. Please feel free to come up here and make an announcement. And remember, it's going to be seen via YouTube, so hundreds, if not thousands of people will see it, so don't be shy. Come on up. Anyone have an announcement? National, wait a minute. National Real Estate Investors Network. Okay. All right, thank you.
Good evening, Brian Henry, Comtech Installations, LLC, based out of Southfield, Michigan. We specialize in home security systems for residential clients who have investment properties. So if you want to secure your property for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, or a year, we can install a non-contractual month-to-month affordable security system in your investment property. They can come with video doorbells and come with cameras, something simple to install and uninstall. Once you sell the property, move it to the next property, we'll install it there, do the same process all over again. Comtech Installations, LLC, Southfield, Michigan, 248-962-3058, comtechinstallations.biz.
All right, thank you. Anyone else would like to make an announcement? Here we go. All right.
Tyler Solomon, owner of Solomon Sanitation and Rubber Wheels Dumpster. We specialize in pretty much any kind of trash removal, from anywhere from roll-offs, anywhere to rubber wheels dumpsters and stuff like that. We go anywhere from a 10 all the way up to a 30-yard container. We pretty much service the whole Tri-County. Depending on which cars anybody's looking at, obviously have some of my services, love to help anybody here.
No, I need information.
Okay.
What was the name?
Repeat the name.
Rubber Wheels Dumpster.
Rubber Wheels Dumpster.
Hello, I'm David Sewell. I run an AI solutions company. If anyone needs a free website or anything for their business, I would love to create you one. If you want to take down my phone number, it's 586-488-9944. And I will create anyone in this room a free website for their business, whether you're a realtor, investor, or whatever you need it for. Yep, 586-488-9944. Thank you.
Anyone else like to make an announcement regarding their real estate related business?
came across a property with a motivated seller in the city of Detroit on the east side. Probably not for a first time, home buyer family situation, but certainly up and coming. So I do have cards. The seller is motivated, and I can answer more questions at that time. Other than that, excuse me, I ran to the car to get cards. I would love to connect with all of you in terms of finding any kind of deals you might be working on, or providing you with some lists. I got my RPR shirt on because I live and breathe real estate. If you don't know what RPR is, then you should definitely talk to me. And other than that, Yolanda Smith-Charles. I'm also an Oakland County Commissioner. I just threw that in for extra. But I'm on the ballot in August if you live in Southfield, Oak Park, Oakland, Royal Oak Township, or Lakeford Village. Thank you, Mr. Eddie.
Alrighty, anyone else want to make an announcement regarding their real estate related business? Alrighty, once again, thank you all for coming out, and once again, I want to thank John. I had the chance to hear him speak. 2 years ago, and when I heard him speak 2 years ago, he said he works up until midnight, so he couldn't normally be at his office making money. 2 o'clock? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to make you seem like you were, a slacker? So he could be in his office making money, but he took time out to come out here and share with us how we can make money. A long time ago, I read a quote by the late Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee said that what you learn is the lesson. What you do with it is the blessing. All right? John dropped several pearls of wisdom on us today. Don't let this go to waste. I read that if you don't take any action on what you've learned within 24 hours, 65% of it is lost. Within 48 hours, 90% of it is lost. I would suggest, if not tonight, certainly first thing tomorrow, write out at least one thing that you are going to do with the wisdom that John dropped on us tonight. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out. Thank you.